But
Okay.
I've seen some Abbott and Costello reruns. You know, sets are falling down. You know, things are blowing up, and they just continue reading the lines. And you know,
Yeah.
it's that's a neat. That's the only bad part about doing this, I think, is that because everything is live,
Yeah.
that you don't. If you're limited to the people reaching out to you. So I mean, you have a good program, you have everything planned, everything is perfect as far as your part. But you know, there may be a hurricane, there may be
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and you just never know.
You know what, and maybe what I'll do then is, because I feel like the schools that you work with might have that expectation, so they're not going to be really upset if things don't go well. But the schools that I work with directly, if things don't go well, they're going to be very, very upset. And so, and like, it's, I just need to let them know and manage their expectations a little bit,
Yeah,
by saying, we have we're expecting the school in Bangladesh to connect, but just bear in mind that, the technology is not perfect, and
right.
that's something I'll do on hand, and you don't need to worry about that particular communication piece.
One thing, as you merge towards more international type of programs and stuff, um, it's very similar to, I guess, to some high schools here in the United States. You know, you want to include every single person. You have really high expectations, except sometimes, it just kind of depends on some outside factors. You know, people may be
Yeah.
sick or whatever, and the people that are just used to doing regular Polycom, and even Polycom I've seen not work sometimes. You know,
Oh yeah.
you can have a major breakdown in any technology, but normally here in the States it's pretty good. So you could something could possibly happen, and I imagine over the course of years you've had a teacher got sick or something, and they didn't
Yeah.
get to show up. But you see it a lot more frequently when you do it internationally, because like I may do a food for thought. We have 15 people scheduled, and 13 people showed up, and 2 people forgot about it, or something happened. I mean, I've had people get buses. Students got kidnapped before they went to school, so they didn't have school that day, and find out about later. And once.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that I think you have to be a lot more tolerant. I guess you hit a word on the head. If they want to do stuff like that, you're going to get a little more tolerant.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that I include that in the initial communication.
But I
Because
don't
I
think
just
it's
don't.
going to be low quality for sure. I think actually it ends up being better because you get to see more wide array of people, and I'll control the sound. So some of the people get kind of mad. I don't mean mad, but I mean I'll manage the participants over here because I got pretty clever about. Some of the people have a tendency to be really not sharing a whole lot, or an open mic or something. So we can at least eliminate that part, so you won't have any feedback problems.
Okay. And then so as far as even sure, and so this is more a question possibly before, but if she doesn't, then I just hear you can do that to kind of keep the meeting running, because I want it to be, as you know from our events, it's a little like adult heavy in terms of adults talking. So I just want to make sure, like, if Lydia doesn't have someone, that's fine. I can work with. So I'll be physically, and they're going to serve as our host school here in Pittsburgh. And so, I'll see if maybe they have a student be the moderator for the event.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. And it's going to be run out of Hampton. What school is going to be run out of?
Hampton, yeah.
And how many?
Yeah, so they're
how many schools in Pittsburgh area were there? 4?
So Hampton, Pittsburgh, Alderdice, Wilkinsburg. Yeah, just actually 3 right now, which is really surprising to me. So I think we're going to get a few more. We just sent it out again. I was a little concerned that maybe people aren't getting our emails. But they should have. I think I see that they've received it today. So, I think we'll get a few more registrants from the local Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, but the one thing about this though is a lot of times if teachers ever change, a lot of times a lot of the programs kind of change too. It's so teacher driven.
Yeah, it's okay. I think we'll have a few more here, and anyhow, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think this is gonna be a really neat event and really really important that we're doing this too. So, trying to think. So it sounds like when we were talking earlier, you had said that the school in Nigeria have a doctor or someone who might share some remarks. I guess my only thought on that is we just want to make sure it's going to fit in the schedule, and that also that the person knows that it should be like very brief.
Yeah, that's why I invited them to come to this. Okay. Yeah. And I want him to, I'm going to check my email here because he emailed me about 30 minutes ago and said that I thought he said he was trying to, okay. I got your email. I haven't seen his. Okay, well, anyways, to make I will talk to him either tonight after church or tomorrow sometime, and make sure that explain. What I think what he wanted to do is just try to tell a lot more the story about his school and what they've gone through, and it's really he wrote a pretty good email and he's telling me about. And I think it would be really apropos for this because I think a lot of people, especially, I guess you get out of the Dallas area for certain, or you think of it's like it's a disease it's not ever going to affect me or something else. And then when you find out how it so brutally impacts people, I think that could be a pretty good centerpiece. Now, I also had some schools from Gambia that were interested, and I'll try to contact them to make sure that they still want to participate. But I've sent out about 3 or 4 times, and you just never know. I mean, people are real busy, okay. and I know that a couple schools in Liberia that we were going to be doing stuff with, I don't even think they're in school right now because of this.
Yeah, I don't think they're in school. So actually you've given me an idea here, share. So maybe how we work the Nigeria piece is that maybe as part of the briefing, the students need to include like a specific example that illustrates the crisis. Does that make sense? So and then maybe the example that the Nigerian group can share is like their specific school. So, even though there haven't been a lot of cases of Ebola in Nigeria, like here's an example of how crippling the crisis was earlier this fall, where all the schools in Nigeria, in this region of Nigeria were shut down. And this is what happened at our school. Like, I think that would be really helpful. I'm just like, I guess my only concern is like thinking about the structure. I want to make sure that, I don't know, just that everything fits well together and makes sense. Because I feel like sometimes, we've just had some cases where like everyone is on like one agenda, and then there's like one school that's on a very different agenda, and then you're like, okay. So, but I think this can fit well in the context of their briefing.
Yeah, I think we might want to even start out with them or something to the effect that could set a tone, and they would be directly, impacted.
Yeah.
There's Lydia right there. I would love to have gotten to school in Dallas and try to talk to them. That would be kind of interesting, but I don't want to reach out right now to add any more people.
Hey, Lydia.
Hi. Sorry, I lost track of time. When I don't
You're
show
fine.
up, you
You're
just call me and yell at me. No, I just looked at the time and realized what time it was.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's not a problem. As you know, I've done that before as well. Hey, so we just to kind of summarize, we've gone through the list of schools that are registered, a dozen schools, and we're expecting a few more. I'm expecting a few more schools here in Pittsburgh, and then Mike is expecting a few more schools. And just to kind of like all be on the same page, is there a certain date by which we think that we should shut down the registration, or is there a certain number of schools like after which we don't want to have any more?
I mean, I don't know the answer on the number. I would refer to Mike on that, but I think that we should think about having a deadline just so that we know that everyone has adequate time with the materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
do you
going
want
to
that?
be, what, 2 weeks?
Do you want that
from
date to be
Tuesday?
Monday?
Yeah. Probably because it's going to be 2 weeks from Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday. Okay, so I can tell our IT person to shut down the registration on Monday then.
You put it Monday at midnight.
Okay. So the other question I had kind of for the group, Lydia, I know that you had started working on the schedule, and it was, and then I've kind of like gone through and tinkered with it a little bit, and then I threw it up in Google Docs, and I wasn't sure if you had a chance to look at it.
I have, and I didn't even realize it was there, and then I spent a lot of time on Google Docs, so then I saw it, was like, oh, all right, great.
Okay. So, I mean, you don't have to answer this right now. Like, I just want to make sure that, like, because I think that, you know, the two of you are much more, you know, on this type of structure. So I just want to make sure that, like, the schedule makes sense. I feel like there's a ton more, like, a lot more detail that needs to be included.
Everyone should be in commons, and we will get started with our gallery walk shortly. Thank you.
Go ahead.
And then also, Lydia, I know that you had mentioned that you had a student who might want to be the kind of moderator, and I wasn't sure.
I have a college student who'd be interested.
And that person's here in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, she goes to Duquesne.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you want to have, like, should she be the moderator person? Do you want her to be the moderator person?
That is up to you guys. I offered it. You know, I think we still, sorry, I'm just now catching up, but do we have someone who's going to do some, like, comments as an expert?
I think we will probably have someone.
But it might just be kind of someone coming in and giving content and not having much prep.
I'm not foreseeing, okay, so I'll just share who I've invited. So we have a board member who works for the University of Pittsburgh, UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. They have a few infectious disease specialists here in Pittsburgh that have made comments on Ebola to the kind of national, or like kind of the local as well as national press.
Okay.
And so I've asked her if she can reach out. And then I also reached out directly to the CDC, and I put in a speaker request, and I try to be as clear as possible on, like, what the request is. But basically, in both of those cases, I've asked them just to be there for, like, the first part.
Okay.
And so they wouldn't then be moderating that second. If you see, like, the way it's, you know, set up, you have kind of like an opening, introduction, and then you have the, you know, the expert speaker kind of giving a big overarching briefing, and then you have the kind of the kids meeting. And so for that kids meeting piece, that hour and 15 minutes or so, I think it would be helpful to have a young person of some sort who can be the moderator.
Okay.
Or the person heading the meeting, because it sounds, for your Model UN, Mike, and then Lydia for your youth and government, it's all kid run, right?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of a cool piece of it. And I don't really know how to prepare kids for that, or like what it looks like or anything like that. So.
Okay.
Well, ideally, you'd have students that participate before, and then when they go to college, you can always bring them back and they can model. And then what you end up doing is growing a whole nother generation of people that can help. So this would be a good modeling experience for that. But this is not really a model UN, so I mean, this will be really good for a lot of different things to demonstrate.
Yeah, all right. So I will touch base with her and get confirmation on her. I had told her to leave that day open in her schedule. So I'm just going to confirm with her that she's still available.
Okay. Also, Lydia, we have a school from Nigeria that wants to present, and it may be like in their briefing part. The principal wants to get on, and several of the teachers, and talk about Ebola in Nigeria and in their area. It's been pretty devastating. So I invite him to come to this meeting, but evidently he hasn't emailed me back. So we need to have some time set aside for that of some sort.
Yeah, so Mike, if you don't mind, and I know this is kind of an awkward position to be in, but I feel like they would be helpful in that expert speaker position if we weren't able to get someone else.
Yeah, that's
but otherwise I think that
it'd be better in the briefing. I think that would be fine. I just said we need to save some time either at the beginning of the first part or the beginning of the second part to just include them first. You know, if we don't have an expert, we could go with that. If we have an expert, they would be a great way to start the briefing part out.
Yeah. So I think that would be neat. And like if you have people do that, so do you have people do like a briefing like that? Like not, I guess like an expert come in for your Model UN programs?
Typically, no. Typically, the students would do all the research on their own. The students would be the quote unquote experts. And I mean, I think that it still would be nice to have it because especially because Ebola is ever evolving. I mean, we know now what we think, like we know this week what we think will be the most important part of what we're talking about, and we don't know what will develop in the next few weeks. So I think that's the nice part about having the expert. The important thing, and this is, I guess, why it's important, why I think we need to decide who's moderating and then the order of things, because the students are going to say things, and they are going to start at places that either are not right or are a little bit misinformed because they're high school kids. And so that's why I'd like there to be a moderator who understands this kind of work, because we want the expert there to give them good content, but we also, some of what we do doesn't always have to be exactly right in the content. It's about the students having the space to work through the problem. So that's the reason I think it'd be nice to have the moderator, have the expert, and then I think the Nigeria group, we just have them go first as far as introductions, because they have probably the most impactful story.
Okay,
yeah,
so
he just emailed me. He's trying to get on right now, so if we get him on in the next couple of minutes, we could talk to him directly and we could settle that up real quick.
So Lydia, just to clarify what you're saying, you're thinking that we should have someone, instead of having your college student, we should have someone who's an expert on Ebola be the kind of moderator, so that he or she can redirect?
No, that's the opposite of what I meant. So what I'm saying is it's great to have the expert, and we want the expert there so the students have some real information. But ultimately, and for me, and this is up for discussion, but for me, it's about the conversations between the kids. It's about a space where the kids' voices and their opinions matter. And so if their science isn't exactly right, that's okay. And that's why I like my moderator as being a college kid, because she's not going to be like, well, actually, and shut the kids down.
Yeah, it's more of the process.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's helpful, because I think as long as we're all okay with the kids, like, and so I was just telling Mike, because this is really different than what we normally do, the schools that I have participating that that have read, they have a certain expectation of what's going to happen. So I just need to do some expectation management with them. Like, it's kids, it's a college student moderating. We want the kids to have the opportunity to really feel like they're experts. They can self-regulate amongst themselves. I don't really want an expert. Okay, and then for the final, so as we're kind of going through the event, like, I feel comfortable with the first part, but again, with the kids meeting part, do you think it's okay that they just go around and, like, Mike said that he has like a briefing outline that the kids have to fill out and share ahead of time, and they give their briefing, and then, the moderator, your college student, moderates the discussion. Okay, I see comments from represent. Okay, I see you've added some things. Do we need to have a joint statement at the end, or is it fine just to have some sort of conclusion, like, we'll be meeting again next week or something like that? Like, do we need to find a product the kids have, or is that not necessary?
I mean, it's always, if we think that there is something we can put out there, some kind of, we've got someone taking notes, we've got something then a takeaway is always better than not having one, but it's not, like, crucial.
Okay. So, and Mike and I talked a little bit earlier. It sounds like it's going to be too hard for the kids who are in, like, the various other countries to be on the video conference and to be on Google Docs at the same time, because maybe it's just one computer that they have, or maybe they can't get to Google Docs. So they might be recording the responses and stuff, but they might have to send it to us afterwards. So maybe that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely okay.
Okay. I'm trying to think of any other questions I have for the two of you. Do you have any other thoughts or questions or insight or expertise for the kid meeting part? Because that's the part that I'm, less familiar with.
I think that, I've looked at your stuff. Most of what, I don't even understand half of the stuff that the content wise that's on there, but I understand the direction you're going. I guess my only question is, and this is probably, this might already be answered, but I have not actually downloaded when you've sent out, like, who's registered. So yeah. As they're registering, are they selecting an area? Are we assigning an area? How is that working?
Yeah, good question. So, okay, and so this is a little bit, that's why I was asking about the number versus the date for closing down registration, because the way that the UN response is working, basically they have, like, different categories of areas where they're taking action. And then under each category, you have like a UN agency that's responsible for it. But in some cases, you have UN agencies, like multiple agencies that are addressing an issue.
Right.
Right. So we can assign the kids a group by just area. So you're in the political and economic group, done. But there are only, like, 9 groups. Or we can say you are UNICEF and you are responsible for the education and outreach. And there can just be one group responsible for education and outreach, and that's UNICEF. Or we can have education and outreach, and we have multiple groups responsible for that. Because the way the UN is working, there are actually, like, multiple groups doing the work.
So I don't care either way, but what I would think would be the most useful or the most exciting for the kids is for them to have a specific, either a specific organization and their whole, like, I don't know. I guess I don't really know. I kind of was thinking maybe there you could assign, okay, your classroom is responsible for understanding these two organizations, and then you're part of this interest cluster and this topic cluster. Because I think that there is some, am I right, that there's some overlap for each, like an organization has stake in this group and in this group. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we should just give them their kind of their cluster group, their like interest group plus one organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's easy enough. And because the other weird about this whole thing is that because of evolving crisis, like the information is also changing of organizations and agencies that are involved has skyrocketed in like the past week. So yeah, if you look at that Bonds Coalition website, there used to be UN agencies listed, and now there are like 12, and maybe next week there'll be 15.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little weird, but you know, that's fine. We'll have more groups, I guess. So okay. Okay, so then Lydia, for the student that you have who can possibly moderate, do you want to set up a meeting with maybe the three of us so we can kind of talk through what we're expecting, get some feedback from her? And
Sorry, I was muted. Sure, that's fine. I'm shooting her an email right now, and I will see what her schedule is. I am, and it doesn't mean I can't do a call on Friday or Monday, but I'm in Dallas. I leave for Dallas Thursday night, so
okay.
I'll just be in the central. I'll be in a central time.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to be in California on those days.
But that won't be a problem.
I could do Monday, but not
you what?
Friday. I could do Monday, but probably not Friday. I think that's Tim calling.
Okay.
This is Tim Devlin. Yep, I'm in the call now.
Hey,
am I in for the next meeting? Am I in for the 3 o'clock session?
Yeah, but go ahead, Tim.
Hello. Good to catch you again.
Nice speaking to you too, Tim. Yeah, we're just about ready to wrap this one up here, and I was waiting on a gentleman from Nigeria was supposed to be coming in. Terry will be joining us shortly, and Ken from Region 13 too.
Yeah, and Tim, so I think so. Lydia and I don't necessarily think we need to be part of this part of the call, but I talked with Mike a little bit earlier, and you know, you all are the IT technical experts on these things. I just want to make sure that we have a few tests ahead of time and that things work as well as possible. But you know that already.
Right. Well, What we think we can do, Michael, is we can have a few of the local sites connect through Magpie, and then just have Magpie connect into your Zoom connection. Did I forget to pay a quarter, or did I get dropped off?
Yeah, no, yeah. I think, Mike, you're.
Yeah, I know. I just trying to check out here. Yeah, that's what Ken was saying. We're going to connect through Region 13 Zoom with a room connector on it, and we'll be connecting directly to you. So I was trying to explain to the other people is that basically it's just two connections and plus your others. So it's not that difficult to do.
I agree. I think we should be fine.
Okay, that's cool. So I guess you guys have, you know, IT kind of stuff to talk about. I'm gonna sign off if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, that's a higher suggestion for us.
I will. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. I'm actually out of town, so I'll be out. But take care. Thank you for everything.
Have fun going out of town. Bye.
Bye.
So Michael, is anybody else on but you and I right now?
Yeah, Lydia from
Lydia.
Lydia's from Pennsylvania Youth and Government. So
Oh, great.
she's from the eastern part of your woods.
Right, and she's the one you connected us up with over the summer, early in July timeframe. Yep, about the mock trials.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, and she wants to get some of your people involved in doing that too.
I agree. I think we should do that.
Yeah, we're trying to do a bunch through video conferencing here. It seems to have worked out pretty well, and once you get the people going, it's very exciting. It's good practice, and it's very good experience. We had
I agree.
Warren Commission. We had real fun on the 50th anniversary of the Warren Commission. We had a JFK expert as our judge, and we were doing a moot court on the Warren Commission. So you can do all kinds of fascinating stuff. I was going to ask you, Lydia, do you have your case yet?
It should be ready in the next 2 weeks. My lead volunteer on it just had a baby. Well, his wife had a baby, but we're putting final touches on it, and my first set of conferences is October 18th. So I'm publishing it. I'm hoping to publish it before that date.
Okay.
So as soon as I have it, I will put you on the email, and you'll have access to it. And it will actually it'll be all in a Google Drive folder on my website. So it'll be a public link that anyone will be able to access.
Well, that'd be great, because I have quite a few schools that want to try to do something. So I thought we'd try to set it out and work with that.
And then once the case is out, and you know who's interested in setting some stuff up, I thought you could just put together because my conference is in April, so my kids anytime between January and April would be interested in practicing. So I thought we'd just have you set up a series of these are the dates that work for you and for your groups, and then I'll just get my kids to sign up to participate.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, is that if we did something like our state conferences the last couple days of January, first couple days of February. So we're pretty good from February and March. And we were going to try to set up dates in that and try to get our international people as well. So I'm letting some of my group is doing the real Y, and then the other group is going to be doing your Y. So, we will have we're going to have some interesting things. So I was thinking that then that way we can get more people involved in class, and we can get more people involved internationally, because they'd be very surprised how many people. I think we have 154 schools now, and I think 75 said they were interested in at least trying to do something. So, and most of them want to do it during that time, so it's going to be that one. It's not going to be the one we have in Texas. I was trying to see if that gentleman and the man from Nigeria was supposed to call in, and I don't know if he's having problems or what. So on the day that we're going to do it, we start out with that guest speaker, the way I understand, and then we're going to go into the moderated type of briefing. And she was saying they want to do stuff on Google Docs that day, and I was trying to explain that some of the schools we're talking to, that might be the only computer that they have, so that probably kind of eliminates that unless we did it beforehand, which would be fine. I just thought the briefing part, I have a 2-page little brief that shows people how to write a brief, basically. We could send that out so they could have maybe a 4-minute type of a briefing speech or something to that effect, as a guideline, not necessarily as a thing, but it's a good way to write a speech. We could at least do that. And then what else do you foresee this to be like? Because I'm getting kind of lost in the because it's not really a Model UN, and it's the way I understand it, it's going to be basically a moderated roundtable type of discussion, correct?
Yeah, and you have more experience with this. So if there's tweaks to that, like for example, your brief, if we give everyone if we give everyone the stuff Amina has, but also like okay, this is what you're expected to bring to the table. Your introduction, what you're explaining, and then here's your assignment. This is the topic you're supposed to be a quote expert on. And then, and I can talk to Amina a little bit more about this, but I was then assuming she would then have a series of discussion questions to say, okay, group 1, 2, 3, or whatever the examples are, what is your answer to this problem? And then it would be some back and forth. And then from there would be a lot of organic conversation. That's my vision. But again, I defer to you on ways to make that most effective on a conference call.
Yeah, see, that's the part where I start, the neat thing about doing a model UN would be is that it's so organized that you have little downtime and you really keep things going. I could just see where this could end up being a problem. But if she says there's an hour and 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and if we have 15 schools and everybody speaks 4 minutes, that's 60 minutes right there.
Well, I think as much as I'm calling an organic discussion, I think that the schedule is pretty laid out. We have the list of all the schools. The moderator says, okay, here's the order the introductions are going to go in. It says, okay, Nigeria, you're up. School in Pittsburgh, you're up. They are announced, and so everyone gives their introductions. Then the speaker comes up. Is there a way to have people, quote unquote, raise their hand, or should we, like for questions, should we just kind of go in a specific order ahead of time, have a predetermined order?
Are you going to have a back channel? Because sometimes we use a back channel communication and we kind of cue people up that way. So we would say, Pittsburgh, you're next, and then the next school, you're next, and have them be ready. So are you going to have a back channel communication?
Yeah, Tim, I think they're going to use Skype again.
Skype, okay, that's good.
Yeah, the only problem is I ran Skype. They blocked Skype on that, but we can get in through Zoom and we could get in through Flash meeting. So I may have to have another computer here going just for Flash meeting for them.
Yeah, I think having a second computer with a person working the texting part or the chatting part would be wise to run in parallel to the actual live program.
Yeah, I kind of learned that the hard way the other day when we didn't have that. So we'll have 2 computers set up and have somebody manning the other computer, and we'll just keep all the international people kind of focused on what it is, and then we'll keep in track with you guys, and then we do back channel to them too. But everyone that's so far involved, except for Iran, also has a Skype. Now, the problem may be is that I don't know, some of the schools may have 2. I'm not so sure about Bangladesh having 2 computers, and if they do have 2 computers, I'm not so sure what happens to their bandwidth. So there's some issues like that still might have to be addressed. But in the past, what happened was they would email me, so I'll keep an email account open too. I'll keep my cell phone handy.
All right, that makes sense.
Yep. I think having a plan in place that they could do back channel if back channel is available. If they don't, then they have to figure out a different way. Like email is fine if that's the way it has to happen.
Well, and if what you're saying is true, Mike, that only 1 or 2 groups wouldn't be able to use the back channel, then they can just interrupt and say, hey, I have a question. As long as it's not all 20 groups interrupting with a question, we're okay.
Right.
I found another trick too. If you have a bunch of schools that want us to talk, have a student in that school stand up in front of the camera, and that standing up is the signal that they have a question, and then you can go to them and see them visually.
Yeah, that would be good.
So maybe make that as one of the ground rules.
Hey Tim, have you done a bunch of these like merged ones between H323 and Zoom before?
No, I have not done any yet. I know Zoom can do it, but I didn't have good luck with Zoom. as good a luck as you're having with Zoom. So I did not pursue Zoom.
Okay. Well, the reason.
So no, go ahead.
I got kind of excited about this when I was talking to the guy from the Hall of Fame, and they've been doing this, and they've been actually using the connection, and it seems to work out pretty well. And our service center is bought into it. So the thing I kind of sold me on it, because I've been doing quite a few video conferences this fall, and they've all been on Zoom, but we've been getting some really good results, like with Bangladesh and Nigeria and a couple of countries where we could not, and Bulgaria, even Bosnia, we could not talk to them on Polycom or H323. It was frozen. It was all kinds of problems. And at least we're getting them on Zoom and with very minimal problems. I'm more worried about what will happen if we have the merger part and how that exactly works. And I was hoping that I'd get Ken on here. Maybe I'll shoot Ken an email here directly and have him talk to you, and you can maybe test that type out.
Okay. Yeah, I believe I've worked with Ken before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's really nice. I got his direct number if you need it.
Yeah, you could send it to me in an email. I can't write it down right now, but you could send it in an email.
And I thought he was going to join us, but I don't know. They may be busy today.
Yeah.
And
okay.
The only other thing I was trying to think of is I know that dead time on this is just absolutely horrendous. Lydia, what do you foresee as any kind of a problem we can forego as far as any kind of dead time between like guest speaker and you know, if things are really struggling, what can we do? What's our backup plan?
So I think
dead time.
Yeah, well,
about dead time, like quiet time.
Yeah, you know, if you're contemplating things, and things are changing so fast, you know, and what we thought we knew about Ebola yesterday is not necessarily what we know about Ebola today. And I don't want to be too conspiratorial, but you know, half the time you kind of question what you actually think you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we may be getting information from some groups of people that would be rather shocking and maybe opposite what the common idea is currently.
So what you could do in that dead time is have each school report out what they're seeing in the media in their geography.
Well, and I think that's part of, so that's all I think part of the pre-work, Mike. When we give them, and I've looked at what, I mean, it has, I still don't think it's coming together yet as a packet that says, here are your action steps. But I think that the packet that needs to go out to all the schools as soon as we close registration is a packet, and I'll put this into writing, and I even can try to take what she's got and turn it into this. But as with some action steps to come to the table with a packet of information. So they're going to come with their introduction, but they're also going to be asked to do some background research on like you said, their area, what's happening in the news, what's different today than it was yesterday, as well as their specific topic area that they're assigned. So the idea is that they're going to have a lot of content. And actually, if we had them turn it into us ahead of time, and between the moderator and myself and Amina could make sure we're familiar with it, we would be able to, in those dead spots, point to someone who has experience with that.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly what I was telling her. I think we need to get you all that information by that Friday before. You know, so somebody would have that, so they would turn in like what their briefs are and what their alleged expertise is going to be. So if you had that, you gave it to the moderator, then they would cure any problem we'd have of that completely. I just want to make sure we had that step in place.
Okay. If you could send me, sorry, I just put candy in my mouth. If you could send me the brief form, I could take your stuff, add in some some of Amina's pieces and have that be, if it all came back to us in the same format, it would be really easy to sift through.
Okay, I'll do that this afternoon then. As
Okay.
soon as we get done here. I was kind of hoping Terry is supposed to be on here in a second, so I don't know. And I don't know what happened to the people from. That's my other big worry would be is that when you do stuff internationally, you don't know if everybody always shows up. You don't have that control. But we'll do what we can do. And you're going to Dallas for what now?
My in-laws are, it's funny. Texas is a funny, funny place.
Oh, really?
Everyone I know who lives in Texas says they're from one of the major cities and they live way far out in the suburbs. My in-laws say they live in Dallas. They live 20 minutes north of Plano.
Okay, yeah, that's yeah.
That's not Dallas.
No, I graduated from Richardson High School, and I remember when Plano and Frisco were really, really small towns. And it's there is a Preston Road, which is 289. It goes in the western part of Plano. It goes up from Dallas. And actually, it used to be absolutely nobody lived there. You know, if you went north of LBJ Highway, you were really getting into some very rural areas. And now today, you could literally live 50, 60 miles away from Dallas, and that's it. I mean, you think you live in Dallas because there's no the same here with Austin. Austin's growing crazy. There used to be if you went south of Austin, you go past the Adams extract plant, and then there would be nothing till you hit San Antonio. Now it's just city after city after city of development.
Yeah. So we go to Dallas for Columbus Day every year to visit my in-laws. And it's because it's the last weekend of the state fair.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that'd be good. Just don't breathe the air.
The air is cooler. Can you answer that? In October. That's why we go in October. But I
was talking about that gentleman passed away today.
Yeah, he did.
And a lot of people are a lot of people are scared to death of going to the fair and other places and it's OU weekend this weekend too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're afraid. I don't know. I maybe I should be more afraid, but I'm not.
Bless your heart. Maybe after you had this conference, you'll find out that we may be more afraid than what we need to be. You know what I'm saying? There's no.
Or the opposite. We're not. I should be more afraid.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll find out.
Anyways, I guess if we have all this stuff, I'll be busy trying to. Tim, I'll call Ken and have him get hold of you and give you the telephone number to exchange.
Okay, that's good.
They've done Room Connect before, so it's not really that terribly hard. I think we're going to have like 11 schools or 12 schools in with us, and then we're connecting with you guys through H323. So through that Room Connect should be okay. And then what we're going to do is I can manage the noises and stuff through here, so you won't hear any. We'll have mute everybody until they talk, so I can control that part through controls here. That's what I can do on mine. I can do it that way, so we don't have any open mics because that becomes really a hassle with feedbacks.
Okay.
Okay. I guess.
All right. I'm good. I'm comfortable, though I'm happy flying by the seat of my pants, so I'll make sure that Amina feels more comfortable with what we're doing.
Yeah, I think some people are much more
That's a nice way of putting it, Michael.
Do what?
I said that's a nice way of putting it. Some people are much more,
left brain. That's all, you know, to me, this is an open opportunity. I'll just put it that way. You know, so
yeah, that's a great way to explain it.
Yeah.
And
what happens.
Yeah, exactly right. It's more the process than it is really the result. And the result actually becomes the people learning, you know, to go through stuff like this. And And I was trying to explain about Mr. Solomon's group there in Nigeria. I mean, they've had their school shut down for 3 weeks. They had to go sanitize everything. You know, they're having tremendous scares. And even like the people in Dallas going through some tremendous, you know, churches are worried about, you know, if somebody's family is from Liberia, you know, people are not going to church. You know, they're not trying to do it. I mean, it's a lot of things are still up in the air that, you know, this may be able to address. I'm not so sure, but I think it's kind of interesting. Because when we first started talking about it, I had no idea it would be affecting, you know, people here in Texas as quickly as it did. Because you think it's going to affect somebody halfway across the world, you don't think about it here in the United States or in Maryland or where else, D.C., wherever they're going to have other pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I guess that helps out.
Well, I'm good.
Good. If you're good, I'm fine then. Well, and Tim's okay, so we'll have a lot of fun on the 28th.
I think so. It'll be a good time.
I agree. All right. I'm going to sign
All
off.
right,
Have
we'll
a great
talk to
day,
you
all.
soon.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, bye-bye.
Julian Escobedo, you're needed in A218.